These are 5 tips you need to know before attending Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Halloween Horror Nights is a heart-pumping, thrill-seeking, and scare-inducing evening at Universal Studios Orlando. You and your friends are bound to have an excellent time while you're there, but could you be having a better time? Today, we're going to give you 5 tips that we wish we knew before our first trip to HHN.
Let's kick it off with the first tip. Halloween Horror Nights is an after-hours, separately ticketed event, so understanding what tickets you need is probably one of our most important tips. I can't tell you the number of times that we've seen people try to gain access to Halloween Horror Nights using their day ticket or their annual pass. It's gotta be super depressing when you get turned away at the gate expecting to get into Halloween Horror Nights and they tell you that you need to buy another ticket.
Yeah, no fun.
So we're briefly gonna go over each and every kind of Halloween Horror Nights ticket that you can purchase during the Halloween Horror Nights season.
Understanding which ticket is best for you is going to be key in making the most of your time at this event. And we want to help you save some money. So as we go through these, we're going to do our best to just take a look at what the options were when we went last year in 2022, but then also help you figure out what works best for you. To get started, we're going to talk about the single night ticket. The single night ticket is a ticket for that one night, and it will cover your admission into HHN for the evening. Prices are dependent on how many tickets are sold and what time of year it is. Are you early in the HHN season? Are you later into the season? But they do vary. However, when it comes to purchasing that solo night ticket, look online because the prices do tend to be a little bit cheaper online than when you come to the gate and purchase them there.
The next item we're gonna cover is multi-night tickets. If you're looking to go to Halloween Horror Nights multiple times or multiple times throughout the September and October season, multi-night tickets might be for you.
I think that if you go more than 3 days, multi-night tickets are definitely worth looking into.
Multi-night tickets definitely get a little complicated based on the naming conventions and the dates that you can have therein.
Yeah.
The first multi-night ticket we're gonna go over is the Rush of Fear Pass. Basically, the Rush of Fear Pass will allow you access to Halloween Horror Nights during the month of September and no nights during October. So if you're planning on visiting Halloween Horror Nights during the beginning of the Halloween Horror Nights season, this multi-night ticket might be for you.
That's our ticket. The next ticket option that we have is the Frequent Fear Pass. This ticket allows you access to the nights of HHN on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays in September and October, and you have access the first opening weekend of September.
The next multi-night ticket is the Frequent Fear Plus Pass. You can see we're starting to get complicated with this. The Frequent Fear Plus Pass allows you access to Halloween Horror Nights Sunday through Friday, plus the first and last Saturdays of the event. This is hard to keep track of everything. And finally, you have the ultimate Frequent Fear Pass, which is probably the simplest of all passes. It grants you access to Halloween Horror Nights every night of the event. Now, with all of these passes and your increase in access, you're obviously going to have an increase in price. So if you're planning on going just during September or you want to split September, October, definitely take that into consideration when you're purchasing tickets.
Yep. Another key piece to note with all of these ticketing options we've gone over so far is they don't include Express Pass. If you want Express Pass, you can add on Express Pass.
Universal will be happy to take your money.
It is an additional charge, just as if you were to purchase Express Pass for a day at the park. Express Pass is not included in a premier hotel stay for HHN. Your Express Pass for HHN is an additionally ticketed purchase.
Now, an important note about the Express Passes for Halloween Horror Nights is it gets you into the Express queue once per house, per night. So don't expect to be able to get in that express line multiple times throughout the night for the same house. It's once per house per night.
It's worth it. It really is.
That was a lot to cover, so we understand if you need to take a break for right now, but knowing your tickets is a very important aspect to Halloween Horror Nights.
Let's go over some more simple tips compared to the ticketing options. Tip number 2 to making HHN the best night of your entire life, is use Stay and Scream. We loved our experience using Stay and Scream, but let's tell you a little bit about what Stay and Scream is. Stay and Scream is a place for you to stay in the parks while Universal team members shut everything down and file everybody who's not there for HHN out of the park. Now, there are some rules on how to get into Stay and Scream, and those are as follows. 1, you purchase a Stay and Scream ticket so that if you did not have daytime admission, you can still come into the park a little bit before HHN starts and go into a holding area. There's a couple throughout the park. We'll go over those in a moment.
Last year, they were $35.
Number 2 is you have daytime admission to the park and you have an HHN ticket. Beautiful, they will let you into Stay and Scream. Now, a couple key pieces to understand with Stay and Scream though is Stay and Scream is a space where you have to go prior to the park closing and everybody getting filed out. So we definitely recommend to get to your Stay and Scream area 4:30 because the park will close down by 5 to allow all of the team members to get people out of the park that aren't supposed to be there. If you're not in the Stay and Scream area prior to 5, they will kick you out. And then while you're at Stay and Scream, depending on the area, you can hang out, you can go to Finnegan's, you can, grab yourself a drink, something to eat, something like that. But you're gonna be there for about an hour until the park is completely emptied, everything is all set up for HHN, and then the best part is you get access to the houses early. So before we talk about access to the houses early though, let's talk about the different areas that Stay and Scream are located.
There were 4 major areas where Stay and Scream areas were last year, and we imagine that they'll probably be similar this year. The first one was Finnegan's in that sort of New York area. I think personally we loved the Finnegan's Stay and Scream or the New York Stay and Scream area, probably the best.
It was one of our favorites because it opened up to the houses we wanted to see the most, but it was hot.
It was hot.
We sat outside for about an hour. The lucky people that go to Stay and Scream early and don't mind being in closed-in spaces next to a lot of people actually go into Finnegan's and have a couple drinks or something to eat. But we definitely just hung out in the New York section and queued up in a line so we could get into our houses early.
The second location was San Francisco, sort of by Richterberger. Another place that we enjoyed because we just sat in Richterberger and hung out for a while until HHN started.
That AC was clutch.
Plus it was raining that night, so
yeah,
getting undercover was nice. The third option is the Simpsons Central Park area.
Yeah.
It allowed us access to houses that we really enjoyed towards the back of the park, but overhead cover was limited, and which we'll get to in a little bit, but it rained again.
We ended up being filed over into the covered area by animal actors while it was raining, thankfully. And I think they plan it that way purposefully. I will say that the Springfield area for Stay and Scream did open up to
A little
bit later, but some of the best houses. Like, we loved the New York area houses, but like the Springfield houses have some of the best ones, I think, so.
And the fourth area is if you want to watch the opening ceremonies, which is in Scaramonies, which is like the production alley, sort of by Hello Kitty.
Today Cafe.
And Today Cafe.
Yeah.
Hello Kitty and Today Cafe.
Now, we didn't do that one. No. We definitely watched the opening ceremonies from recordings. And we were like, we're good.
We'd rather watch the houses.
The main thing about it was that we wanted to get into houses early, which let's explain why you would do Stay and Scream in the first place. With Stay and Scream, you get let out into the houses prior to those gates with all of general admission opening. When we did Stay and Scream on multiple locations, I think almost every Stay and Scream location, we were able to finish about 2 to maybe 3 houses before the gates opened to general admission. Yep. It was great. It was amazing. We didn't have to wait in line nearly as long. And then we were able to go and hit up some of the houses that people had already kind of come through and bypassed and make our night just a lot more efficient and effective. If you're trying to do a lot at HHN,
Stay and Scream.
Stay and Scream is the way to go. It will get your night started off on the right foot.
Yep. Our third tip for crushing Halloween Hornets and having the best night ever is to wear comfy shoes.
I feel like we could just mic drop and leave it at that.
You're going to be walking a lot, especially if you're enjoying days at the park and Halloween Horror Nights in the evenings. as well as you're just going to be standing in line quite a bit, regardless of whether you have Express Pass or not.
You're on your feet so much during Halloween Horror Nights. And if you were at the park during the daytime, you're easily going to get, I don't know, 20, 30, 40,000 steps for the day. We tend to hit about 30,000 plus steps when we have a daytime ticket and go to HHN. And your feet, by the end of it, are screaming. So even with comfy shoes, your feet get tired. However, think about how bad it would be if we didn't have comfy shoes. So make sure you have comfortable shoes to stand in, to walk in, to move around in. And not just comfortable shoes, but comfortable shoes that are broken in. Yeah. The last thing you want is not only to have sore feet, but to have blisters too. So find those shoes, prep them ahead of time, be ready so that you can walk around that evening and have the night of your life.
Speaking of things to wear or things to bring to Halloween Horror Nights, that brings us to tip number 4, which is plan for the weather.
Wear something that can get wet.
September, October in Florida is going to be hot, it's going to be buggy, and it's going to feel like walking through soup. It's also very likely to rain. During Halloween Horror Nights and during that late summer period, expect that there will be at least one good rainstorm that works its way through the Central Florida area per day. So bring a light rain jacket or a poncho
Ben
and
hates ponchos.
brave the rainstorm that will inevitably happen during Halloween Horror Nights.
We tend to bring each of us a light rain jacket with us. It definitely helps. And at some point, because HHN goes late into the night, at some point in the evening, it does actually cool off a little bit. You'd be shocked. But that wind coming through and it cools off a little bit, like I personally ended up needing to wear my jacket in the evening times because I was a little chilly when we were standing in line. Given a couple hours later, I was sweating. So, take it for how you will and plan accordingly. Also, another pro tip when it comes to bringing that light rain jacket, when you go through the houses, there is stuff in your face, also called sif. A jacket is a very nice way to cover your bare arms, head, things of that nature from, let's just say, fake spider webs and other things that could touch you as you go through the houses. Personally, last year, I walked through the bug house with my rain jacket on, zipped up to here and hood over my head. And then one of the nice attendants reminded me that I had shorts on and stuff could still touch my legs. So we made it through alive, but having that rain jacket definitely helped me out. And I was a little less freaked out because of it. Finally, our last tip for making HHN the best night ever. Tip number 5. It might sound silly, but bring some earplugs.
HHN is going to be loud.
And when we say loud, we mean it is loud.
There's going to be rock and roll music blaring.
Yeah.
In the houses, sound is definitely one of those things that disorients you and puts you on edge, so it brings out the scariness of the houses, but it can be borderline uncomfortably loud.
Yeah.
So if you're sensitive to noises, like we are, bringing earplugs can definitely help make that a more enjoyable night.
We brought earplugs last year, and the first couple houses we went through, we didn't wear them, and I was so freaked out through the house. Like the very first house we went through, Ben didn't think I was gonna go through another house after that. However, eventually we were like, you know what, let's use these earplugs. It will make the houses just a little less overwhelming, and it really did help. We would stand in line, and then as we got close to the door, we'd throw our earplugs in, and you're still gonna hear the noises. It is so loud in there that even with earplugs, it's loud, but it is not nearly as obnoxious, and we could take the earplugs out and have a conversation afterwards and not have to go like, oh my gosh, because of all the noise that you see when you, experience when you walk through. I think it's one of those kind of underrated tips that people tell you and you don't really think about, but once you do it, you go, oh my gosh, that made such a better night. Use some earplugs, it will go a long way.
These were our 5 tips for enjoying your nights at Halloween Horror Nights. If you got something out of this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stick around for more Universal content. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.